Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is going to be my review, of course, of Travis Scott's 2018 album ASTROWORLD. Let's take it back for a little throwback, all right? Imagine it's 2018. It is one of the most explosive years for, not just music, but hip hop, at large. It's such a big year, 2018. You have Kids See Ghosts, you have Daytona, you have Yay, you have Care For Me from Saba, you have Swimming from Mac Miller, you have Veteran from JPEG Mafia, you have I Am Greater Than I Was by 21 Savage, you have the Black Panther soundtrack, you have Czarface meets Metalface, with Czarface and MF Doom. You have Redemption from J-Rock. You have Taboo from Denzel Curry. Iridescence from Brockhampton. Die Lit, Playboy Cardi. KOD, J. Cole. So many albums. And there's more. It's like that's not even all of them. There's so many more. But there is one album possibly bigger than them all. Biggest commercially, I can tell you that. And that is Astroworld. This is, I think, what a lot of people would agree to be Travis's magnum opus. I know a lot of people would say Rodeo's his best. Even now, a lot of people would say Utopia's his best. But I think a lot of people could agree this is like his shining moment. This is him at his largest, him at his biggest, and it finally came to fruition after years of him talking about it and waiting. And it is everything that we could have hoped for. Starting off with Stargazing, we are immediately drawn into the vast, vibrant, crazy world that is going to be this album, with the super hard, explosive drums, and then of course we get the extremely catchy chorus. That is the rolling, 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 got me stargazing. Yeah, that's I'm not gonna sing on camera a lot, but you'll get that at least from me. And I feel like this alone, like this track alone, Stargazing alone, feels like what Astroworld is supposed to be. With it's got the two sides to it, and they're not like, they are very different sonically. Of course, they're both like trap and very like psychedelic trap, but it's just like the roller coaster that it is. You have like the first half, which is like super explosive and hard hitting, and then you have this super spacious transition where it's just a bunch of synths and it slows down a bunch before speeding back up for the outro half, the second half. It's like that. This is like what the album feels like. It is a roller coaster. You immediately take off for the first half. You're going up and down through all the loops, and then you slow down a little bit before zooming right back into it. I think that this might be Travis Scott's best opener. Now that I'm thinking about it, Hyena is great for Utopia, and it's like Pornography is great, and The Ends is great, but I don't know. I feel like this intro is like perfect. It embodies what the album is, and I think that's what a great intro does. Next up, we have Carousel, which is a collaboration that I don't think a lot of people saw coming. If you look at like the reaction videos, it's like, holy God. Everyone was so shocked at this, having Frank Ocean on a Travis Scott album. Who could have thought? It's fantastic. Frank absolutely carries the track with his crazy. I feel like we've never gotten a performance like this from him, and any features we've gotten since, which isn't many, none of them have felt like this. His energy is just on 10. He's doing crazy stuff with his vocals. He's doing like vocal acrobatics with this. Extremely catchy chorus. The Beastie Boys sample is fantastic going along in the background. It sounds like you're in the crowd, with like that playing in the back, that Sicko Mode. Again, it's kind of like Antidote and Goosebumps in the last two reviews. It's like, what can you really say about Sicko Mode? Personally, I know a lot of people would say, it's so massively overplayed and it's like so annoying now, but it's like, I still think it's great for what it is, and that I still think it's a perfect song. From all three different instrumentals you have, I mean, this was like groundbreaking. This is basically like reinventing the wheel. I mean, it's of course there were beat switches before in music, but it definitely feels like this marked a new era for beat switches, and anything that came after Sicko Mode, it felt like it was trying to do what Sicko Mode did. It really showed that, like, I don't know, because again, like I said, it's not the first beat switch, but just the way that it did it was so grand and so left field. I mean, it shows that like you never knew when you could get a beat switch. I mean, you know, some songs like they build to it and they build to it, like on Nights by Frank Ocean. It builds and it builds, it builds, and you kind of like feel, you know, something's coming with the way it is like building, and then it switches and you're like, you know, of course it's amazing, but like, you know, it's there. With the beat switches on this song on Sicko Mode, you don't know what's coming, and that's, I think, what it changed a lot for music and for beat switches. But yeah, I mean, you have great production. Personally, I'm a fan of the second production, where it's like mostly the bass driven. I know a lot of people for the first and the third beat, but I prefer the second one. I just really like that one. Yeah, you have a great feature from Drake, and I mean that's all I gotta say about it. R.I.P. Screw, though, is, I think, one of his most underrated tracks. I know I say that a lot in my videos, but I do think it's true. This personally is my favorite Travis Scott song of all time, and it is one of my favorite songs of all time in general. I absolutely love Sway Lee on this. Anytime I think him and Travis get together, whether it's for, I think they only have one song together on a Ray Shremmerd track, but Close from Ray Shremmerd, or now Circus Maximus, or he even has that little part on Sicko Mode, although I wouldn't really consider that a collaboration. But anytime they get together, it's absolutely fantastic, and I think just the energy here is fantastic. This is one of my favorite productions on the whole album, and I love everything about it. I like the sample at the very end, the news sample, and just the dedication to DJ Screw, who obviously the song is named after, is really great. And yeah, I think this one definitely goes a little bit, unfortunately, too unnoticed, because it is sandwiched in between two other amazing songs, with the next one being Stop Trying to Be God. I feel like everybody knows about this one as well, although, of course, it isn't like Sicko Mode famous. This one did win a Grammy, I believe. You know, you have massive names attached to this. You have obviously Travis on it. You have Kid Cudi, who we got just to do hums. He's got James Blake on the outro, who sounds like heavenly on this. And he has Stevie motherfucking Wonder. I mean, he got this man just to play harmonica. How do you get Stevie Wonder on this and just have him play harmonica? I don't know. It would have been amazing to hear him sing, but it's like, holy God, that harmonica sounds just so amazing, and it's so good. Yeah, this is also, I feel like, when we start to get a little bit more lyricism in the track list. You know, this album, Rodeo was pretty jam-packed full of lyricism. Not every track, but, you know, there was a fair bit of tracks with it, and Birds really had, like, no lyricism. It was very kind of elementary for rap, at least. And this album doesn't have overly too much. It is very like grandiose, and it is kind of just an album to have fun to, but this song does provide some good lyricism. And I don't know if anyone else is thinking this, but when this song first came out, I thought for sure he was talking to Kanye West. I mean, the song is called Stop Trying to Be God. Kanye has a song, granted it was from 5 years earlier, but he has a song called I Am a God. And yeah, so I totally thought that this was aimed at Kanye. I don't know. Maybe that's stupid, but just what he's talking about on the track, it just feels very like it's pointing to him, even though they are friends. But yeah, fantastic song. I think that just, it's perfect. I mean, there's literally nothing I can say about this that hasn't been said, and I have no complaints for this song. That is an amazing 3-track run. And we do keep going, of course. Another unexpected collaboration, though, would be Juice WRLD on No Bystanders. I feel like it was like super out of left field and it caught everyone's surprise. I think his chorus is pretty good, but I do think that Travis does hold the spotlight on this song, with his really good verses, and I do really like Sheck Wes on the refrain from the interpolation of the "Fuck the Club Up" from 3 6 Mafia, I believe. Skeletons will go down, I think, in history as one of the best psychedelic trap songs of all time. I mean, if you look at all the names that you have on this, you have Mike Dean, Kanye West, Travis Scott, Pharrell Williams, The Weeknd, and Tame Impala. I mean, that is like the Avengers of like modern music. I just think that this song is absolutely fantastic. It is one of my favorites from Travis, and it's just an amazing song. I love everything about it. You have like the crazy synths, you have the like the triple harmony of Travis, Pharrell, and The Weeknd throughout the entire thing. I mean, this thing sounds like, I don't know. I can't explain what it sounds like. It just sounds amazing, and I feel like if you haven't heard the song, you have to listen to it. You have to understand like how good this song is, and I mean, you will. If you listen to it, you'll understand. But we do keep going with The Weeknd, who goes for 2 features in a row with him on Wake Up. This one isn't as good, although I mean, I can understand why maybe someone would prefer it. This one just kind of being like a pretty basic story of, them wanting to stay in bed because, as he says, pussy so good, pussy so sweet. I mean, it's a pretty basic concept of a song, a little cheesy, but like the two of them make such a great atmosphere that like you're so entranced. It feels like you're listening to this like on the beach, and you're like laying in the sand, or you're like in a beach house, and I mean, it's just like a great ambiance. And the transition from Wake Up to 5% Tint is so perfectly done. The sample from, what is it? It's from Cell Theory, from Goody Mob, and Peeping in My Window by Lil Kiki. It's just so intoxicating, and I mean, it is like it is destined to get stuck in your head, that beat from 5% Tint, that dun 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 dun. I mean, it's so damn good. The transition between these two songs, I almost feel like anytime one of them comes on, I have to run it back, and I have to make sure that these two play back to back, just because that transition is so well done. I mean, that is fantastic. Not one of the best songs on the album, 5% Tint isn't, but I mean, it is super fun. I wouldn't say there's a single bad song on the project. This just isn't one of the strongest. Similarly, NC-17 is the next collab with 21 Savage. Again, I don't think that this one is like one of the best on the projects, but I do still think it's really fun. I think it's one of the most fun songs on the project, just not one of the best. And again, it is super fun. I really like the beat on this, and the sort of, it reminds me of like a child's, is it like the xylophone for the production, but yeah. We do ramp back up with ASTROTHUNDER, which is another massively underrated song, and it is sort of kind of like an interlude. It's like just barely over 2 minutes, but I love the ambiance that this gives and the whole atmosphere. This, again, it gives very much into, I think, the kind of unfortunate thing that came from this album is all the people trying to steal this sound. And you would see it even when people would collaborate with Travis. Like when someone's going to have a Travis Scott feature after this album, they would immediately have like this one song that sticks out from the rest, and feels super spacious, and it feels like futuristic, and it's definitely like inspired by Astroworld. I mean, the first one that comes to mind, again, it's not a bad song. It doesn't stick out too much on the project, but from Detroit 2, from Big Sean, Lithuania, it's kind of like that is, I feel like, a good example of where people heard Travis and they were like, oh, like they listened to Astroworld and they were like, this is what I need to do to get popular, or like if I have Travis, I got to do something like this. It's like, you don't. Travis is very versatile and he can do a lot, but this song I feel like is super underrated. The spacey vocals from Travis This one actually really took over my summer in 2023. As of recording this, it's 2024 now, but yeah, this one really took over my 2023 summer. I couldn't stop listening to it. It just like was consistently stuck in my head, and I just consistently wanted to listen to it. Yeah. I do think, again, I would agree with the masses, and I don't really like Nav's feature on Yosemite. I think it's massively unnecessary. I mean, Gunna just is so smooth on Yosemite. We just didn't need Nav on the end. It's like, forget the whole, improper mixing when the song came out, like Nav being like super far from the mic, but it's just like, you didn't really need him at all, really. I don't think he was needed at all, and I don't know. That's my only problem with the song. Otherwise, I love Yosemite. It was one of my favorites when it came out. Again, it's very summery, as the whole project is, but this one really, a lot, I would just consistently playing. I love how smooth it is. The next song, Can't Say, is, I feel like, kind of the song everyone thinks about. Maybe besides Sicko Mode, it's maybe the song that everyone thinks about when they think of Astroworld. I mean, the world's reaction to hearing Don Toliver for the first time was just absolutely fucking nuts. I remember my first time listening to this, I was like, okay, like, I'm going through Astroworld, and I'm like, hearing all these people, I'm like, holy shit, he got Frank Ocean. And then there's Drake, and then there's Sway Lee, and James Blake. And it's like, you're hearing all these, voices you recognize and and, you got Gunna and Nav and 21 Savage, and then you're like, who the hell is this guy? Like, who is this on Can't Say? And Don Toliver, I mean, shook the world. And ever since this, he has been one of my favorite rappers. I mean, now it's kind of hard to call him a rapper because he's very much in like his like R&B bag right now, but he's become one of my favorite rappers to watch. I love absolutely what he can do with his vocals. I really wish he would do more stuff like this on this song, like this very eclectic, crazy, all over the place vocal performance like he does on Can't Say. He does do it a lot on his debut project, Donnie Womack, which people should check out. It came out literally the day before Astroworld, which is like massively smart marketing move. I'm sure they did. Like, hey, this will come out. People want to know who he is. They'll go listen to this. But anyways, yeah, I mean, this song, Don absolutely steals the show, practically makes this song his. And I have to say, seeing this song live was just fantastic. Everybody singing along to Don's part. The energy was perfectly matched for it. It's just like, I don't know, hearing it live reminded me again of like my first time hearing it. So another massive highlight on the track list. But after such a class of a track, we do kind of just get back to the basic party stuff with Quavo and Takeoff featuring on Who What. And yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that the song is just bad, like it's just very mid. I would say maybe it's mid in comparison to the rest of the project, but I still think it's a good song. Again, it's just it's a party track, but I do really like Takeoff's verse. It feels very inspired by his 2017 solo single called Intruder. Yeah, I mean, I guess if I had to cut one song from the project, maybe it would be this one. Maybe this one or Butterfly Effect. I feel like Butterfly Effect does stick out a little bit. Production-wise, it feels it does feel like it was leading up to the project, which it was. It was released like a whole year almost before this. But yeah, I mean, I get it. I get the gripe that this song gets. I think it's a little overhated, but still a good song. But as I said, Butterfly Effect is just another song. I don't think it hits as hard as the rest. I do really like the production. I like, again, the very spacious and element that this song brought, and this was like a good groundwork for Travis to put on for the album. But he could have left this off, and I really wouldn't have been too upset. HOUSTONFORNICATION is my second favorite song on the project. It used to be my favorite for like a really long time, but then kind of Can't Say the more I listen to that. Or not Can't Say. R.I.P. Screw rose to be. I would say maybe this is my second favorite or third favorite. Yeah, I think this features the best rapping performance from Travis. I mean, if you listen to just how fast he's going and just his entendres and everything. This, I would say, definitely has to be considered his best. I think that it was actually a really smart choice. It maybe not was purposeful, but the production takes a bit more of a backseat on this song. You're much more focused on Travis and what he's saying and his performance than like where most of the songs on Astroworld, you are very much featuring the production, and that is kind of, I think, the forefront on here. Like when people talk about Astroworld, the first thing you think about most times is how good the production is and how much that shines on here. But on HOUSTONFORNICATION, I think it takes a backseat, and I think that's good. Having a track like that on here really switches it up a little bit. So I know it's at the end, so it's not like crazy, but I think it's good. And speaking of great endings, Coffee Bean. I used to think that this was maybe not like the worst song, but it was just my least favorite. It just, like, how much it switched up the sound from the rest. I didn't think it was bad. It was just like, I was kind of like, why is this on here? But again, as time has gone on, I think it has become maybe not one of my favorites, but I think it's maybe one of the best on the project, and is probably one of the most essential songs to just Travis in general. I mean, what he's talking about on here, this is, again, one of the other very few lyrical moments on the project, talking about his relationship with Kylie Jenner and all. I don't even know if they're still together, but like, at least at the time, that's who he was with. That was who he had his children with. And just him talking about that and getting very introspective and very open. He's an artist who really doesn't share a lot about himself at least in his music. I don't really watch too many interviews of him, but yeah, I think it was a great change of pace, and it was a really great way to end off the project, even though I know a lot of people are kind of like, oh, it stands out. It's like, yeah, but that's kind of what makes it great. Like the slowdown for it's that ending of the roller coaster, of all the rides. You're finally done with the theme park and you're getting back to your life, and I think that's what this does a great job of. So that is the end of the bass review of the LP, and so now we will get into the highest high section of the video. Starting off, we had the best vocal performance, and I'm going to give that to HOUSTONFORNICATION. Travis Scott does have some very good harmonic and melodic performances on here, but I do think that HOUSTONFORNICATION is just the best rapping performance, and the best vocal performance we're talking about of his performances. Because, of course, there are people, we'll get to that when I say the best guest feature, but for Travis, this is his best performance on here. I love how good he's rapping. He's rapping very fast, but he's very honed in, and I just think he's got a great tone throughout the entire song. Best production has to go to Skeletons. Again, the 6 names that I mentioned, all on production, and just all of them getting in here to work on this song, it was made to be a masterpiece. It was destined. Best songwriting has to go to Coffee Bean. I mean, like I said, this is the best writing on the entire project. And, of course, for my favorite line, it is also coming from Coffee Bean. It is, "Shawty, we could be mad cool. Just hit me if anything past due. Your family told you I'm a bad move, plus I'm already a black dude." And, like, when I'm going through a project and I'm picking my favorite line, sometimes it is a line that resonates with me, or sometimes I'll pick it because it is just like one I think that flows really well, or one that just sticks out to me as like a really good or fun line. This one I picked out because when I was first listening to Astroworld, it just really stuck out to me. I heard this line and I was like, damn, this is different. This is different for him, and I think that's why I considered Coffee Bean to be one of his most essential songs. It's his song where I think he gets the most vulnerable to date, even. We have a few moments on Utopia where he is personal, and even on Rodeo a little bit, but just him, saying this and being like, I know because I'm black, like, your family looks at me different, and he knows that, like, how he's viewed in their eyes. And so yeah, it really stuck out to me, and that's probably my favorite line from the whole project. best feature performance, I mean, it's got to be Don Toliver. I mean, there's no question about it. Honorable mentions, though, to The Weeknd and Pharrell on Skeletons, and then Frank Ocean on Carousel, and, of course, James Blake on Stop Trying to Be God. But Don Toliver, like I said, he made Can't Say his song, practically. I mean, when you think of that song, you're thinking of him. So, yeah, I mean, that was just a phenomenal performance. I would rate my enjoyment at about an 88%. And that is Astroworld. This album stuck with me so much when it came out. I mean, I feel like it wasn't just me, it was the soundtrack to everyone's summer, or, when did this come out? August or something? I mean, still summer. The end of summer, it was everyone's soundtrack, and it was for like years to come. And even still in the summer, I'll go back to this and listen to it all the time. And like I said, this thing has like production-wise, flawless. But yeah, it's just a great fucking album. I highly recommend it, and I think that this is debatably one of Travis's best projects. And I don't know. I might go back and re-review Utopia, because I don't know if I would still rate it a 91. I might bring it down a couple points, but we'll see. As of now, I'm just going to leave it for what it is, and I'll decide that in the future. So yeah, that is my review. Thank you for watching. All my links to my socials will be in the description down below for where else you can find me on all different websites. And so, yeah, I'm not sure what discography I'm going to review next. But, we'll see when we get there. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye now.